clerk just to note roll call. And I would like to read into the record, in terms of the roll call, an email from Commissioner Dan McIntyre. Dear Mary, this is to notify you that I, Daniel P. McIntyre, will be resigning from the Lynn Traffic Commission due to health reasons. This is effective today, September 5th, 2014. It has been a pleasure to serve while on the commission. I can say for as chairman and fellow commissioner for all the years, Dan was a true asset to the commission. He did a lot of good work, had great opinions, and I wish him well in his retirement from the commission. It's down with 4 of us then. I believe everybody received the minutes from the last meeting. Unless there's any questions or discussion, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to.
Motion to approve made by Jay. Seconded by Andy. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I'm going to jump down to item number 5, old business, which is item number 682, review trucks traveling on Forest Street. At this point, I'm going to ask Commissioner Fenton, if you would take the chair.
Yes.
Let me speak. Thank you. I'll have Mary just note that for the record. Just to review for the commissioners, and I'm sorry, I have to back up again. I want to welcome Commissioner Hall in his new capacity as the DPW commissioner, and now his new capacity as traffic commissioner, going along with that job. Andy, welcome, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
And this is a great meeting to get your feet wet. So, anyway, to review what we did this past spring, I believe Andy already has it, so Mary for the record. This is a map that we had. We had a public hearing, as you will recall, last spring. I don't know the exact date. I'm sure Mary has in the records. We had a public hearing on this truck route. We had a room full of folks here. Many gave testimony. Following that, the previous DPW Commissioner J.T. Gauscher, myself, and Sergeant Shinnick from the Lynn Police Department met with representatives of Aggregate at their office in Saugus, and we took a plan that had been in effect back several years ago during then Mayor Clancy's tenure, and we modified it to try and come up with some relief. In a nutshell, what happened was outbound, when I say outbound, this is trucks leaving Swampscott headed towards Saugus. These would be fully loaded, and on a Monday through Friday basis, the schedule was first truck would go out, I won't bore you with the routes there from Swampscott into Lynn, but it would in effect go out to Forest Street, Linwood Road, Walnut Street routes out to the Saugus plant. The second truck would come into Lynn, go down Boston Street, take a right onto Myrtle Street, follow that to Walnut Street, out to Route 1 South to the Saugus plant, and the third truck would go out Boston to Kessler Ave to O'Callahan Way, left on Walnut Street, out to Route 1 to the Saugus plant. These trucks, it was recommended by the folks at Aggregate, would be the ones that were loaded. Because of the extra weight, it would reduce bouncing on the street and thus reduce noise to the residents, which is one of the concerns we heard. Inbound trucks, meaning those trucks that would be returning from Saugus, going back to the Swampscott Quarry, would all be required on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays to leave the plant, go up Route 1 North to 129 East, come in through Wyoming Square, Linfield Street to Wyoming Square, down to Western Avenue, and back to Swampscott via Route 107. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the trucks would leave the plant, Route 99 North, Route 1 South, Route 60 East, over to Route 107, which would be the Lynn Marsh Road, and then straight Western Avenue into Salem, and take a right to Swampscott that way. And it was further decided that any early morning traffic, before 6 a.m., for any reason some truck was going from Saugus into Swampscott, those trucks would be required to take the 129 Route 107 route, so they were not going down Forest Street, Linwood Road, Walnut Street route. In effect, that plan, what I just did, basically reduced traffic, truck traffic from Aggregate by 5/6 of what it once was. In order to try and verify that, I asked our traffic unit to spot check the route during their normal course of duties. And I have a brief report here from Sergeant Shinnick. He sent 2 patrolmen to work from him up there. They would go up on periodic days for 2 hours at a time. Bear with me 1 second. They stationed on Linwood Road on June 4th. There were no trucks observed during the 2 hours they were there. And I'll be honest, I don't have the specific 2 hours, but they were up there. They worked from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So they were up there sometime during the normal business day. And on June 9th, they saw no trucks up there either. The same pattern was repeated on July 1st and July 8th. No trucks went by while they were there. August 6th, they saw 1 truck go by. August 20th, there were 5 trucks that went by. 3 were outbound, 2 were inbound. I'll go back to that in a minute. August 25th, 2 trucks were outbound. August 26th, 2 trucks, 1 inbound, 1 outbound. And August 27th, there were no trucks. They did stop some of the trucks that were inbound and advised them that the inbound route should be on Western Avenue. The truck drivers complained. That Matt McCormick, all due respect, Matt, sorry, was yelling at them as they drove by. Some of them were not aggregate trucks. Sergeant Shinnick himself has traveled that area a number of times during the summer and only saw an occasional truck. Again, Sergeant Shinnick's not there all day, but he seems to me the truck traffic was a lot less than it had been in the past. Maybe it was just summer, some of them were on vacation. He did think that a lot more were using the Western Avenue and Linfield Street routes. We have a program here in the police department that 1 day a month, all of us who don't wear a uniform normally go out, put a uniform on and go out and walk for 4 hours and then ride for 4 hours in hot spots. When I did mine last several months, I spent time personally out on the truck route. I sat there 3 days. I can give you the dates later on if you need them, but I sat there for an hour at a time. I saw, first day back in June, I saw 2 trucks outbound. Didn't see out of the ordinary. July, 1 each way. I stopped that individual. And then in August, I saw 1 outbound during the hour I was there. When we stop trucks that are in violation of the agreement, we notify the powers to be over to aggregate. They talk to the operator of the truck. They also call the owner of the truck. They want them, and if further violations occur, then they'll tell them to take their business elsewhere.
That's not working.
And I'm just going to remind those in the audience, this is not a public hearing. I understand your frustrations, but we've had the public hearing, and I'm going to obey the public meeting laws as best I can here, so I ask for your cooperation and your silence, please. One other thing that we did, and received an email, tried to touch base with the individuals over in aggregate, asking them for updates. I got an update today from Tom Oldakowski. From our review of the transport routes, the flow continues to improve as the independent transport operators follow them. In the event we are made aware of any issues surrounding our carrier base, we immediately remedy the issue not only at the scale yet via a call to the owner-operator. We continue to build more efficiency into stocking our plants in Saugus, and the usage or number of independent transport operators has decreased. Please remember that we do have independents that reside in the city of Lynn. We're a very safety-driven company and instill our values into our carrier base. We look to keep the approved routes open to commerce and want to keep the communication open to all parties concerned. We appreciate your and your team's support and effort as we constantly try to improve in this arena. And I'm just going to, last thing, before we can open for further discussion, I want to share with the commissioners, again, for Jay and Chris, Miriam, for the record, I think they have it anyway, but just to keep it clean. This is that report that was done by the Beta Group, dated November 30th of 2009. Beta Group is a private contractor that I assume they were hired through former DPW Commissioner Jay Fink, as this report is addressed to him. And it looked at this area. In a nutshell, there are 3 warrants or reasons why a road, if it is going to be considered to be have trucks banned from it, you have to meet one of the 3 warrants. The report does confirm that this route meets warrant number 1, which is the volume of heavy commercial vehicles, which usually in the range of 5 to 8% reduces the utilization of the facility, and is cause for substantial reduction in capacity or safety. The other two reasons, the other two don't, but that does. The law is, in addition to meeting the warrants, a suitable alternative route must be identified. The alternative route must either lie wholly within the community, making the application for truck exclusion, lie partially in an adjacent community if the route follows state highway, or lie partially within an adjacent community but have the adjacent community's written approval. They did look at the time of the Western Avenue route, 107, straight down Western Avenue, then over the Marsh Road. They said that could be a suggested route, but further evaluation of the route is suggested and should include, a review of impact to capacity along Western Avenue corridor. For the Commission's reference, I would just remind you that this was done in 2009. That was prior to the ongoing construction of the Belton Bly Bridge that we have now, and which takes 2 lanes in either direction, uses it to 1 lane as they go over the temporary bridge. I'm no expert, but obviously that would back up traffic even more. The other 2 routes were not recommended. So, having said all that, this is not easy. I don't have a simple solution. This beta group does, as I said, does state that this route does meet one of the warrants, but we don't have in my opinion, we don't have another good alternate route. And I'm not sure, again, just my own opinion, I'm not sure we can actually find a good alternate route that can be approved by the state. I do think, as I said before, I think the route that we worked out with aggregate has reduced at least the majority of the heavy trucks on the route. I believe it's working, backed up by the observations of the police officers as well as myself. And at that point, I'll open up for our chairman's permission, open up for any further discussion.
You want me to stay in this chair?
Actually, I'll take the chair back now if I've said my piece. Any other discussion on this, gentlemen?
No.
I think this, the 5 to 8% trucks that the beta group is pointing out has been lessened to some degree by this alternate route proposed and agreed upon by aggregate. For what that's worth.
Yeah. What would be the wishes of the commission? This meeting was scheduled to review it. This was, if you recall, when we voted this back in the spring, we said we would review at the September meeting and take whatever action necessary. So is there any type of motion to do anything with this route?
I mean, I think we've looked at it. I don't think there is a good alternative route. We've tried to take some steps to alleviate or lessen the issue. I don't know what else at this point we can do.
I agree with you. Do we vote, or what happens next?
Well, here's what we can do. We can vote, we can do a number of things. We can vote to close this out and leave it as is, leave the actions we took last spring, just make it a permanent resolution that it stays as is. We could vote to reopen another public hearing down the road as a for other truck routes. We would have to designate that other truck route first and probably throw some work your way, dealing with the Mass Highway, Department of Transportation, see if that can be done. But once we identify another truck route, we're going to have a public hearing before we do that, because we would actually be, we got to be fair to those folks. And by the way, for the record, as the commissioners know, this body has no budget. So, I mean, we're powerless to re-engage Beta Group to do anything about it. We could, as an alternative, send a letter to the city council, or probably more the mayor. The council's not allowed to add money, but they could obviously assist if that's within their wisdom, and to see if further study could be done by a professional. Not that we're not professionals, gentlemen, but I think we're all laymen in this terms. But or we do nothing. nothing, we just leave it on the table.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the improvements that we have seen based on the new route from aggregate, and we close the issue.
Motion made that we accept the.
Second.
Seconded by Jay. Do you have any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Does that mean it's closed?
We still have a meeting on. If you want to discuss anything further, give us a few minutes to go through the other business we have on the agenda, and as I did before, I will gladly stay and discuss anything with you, with anybody that wants, has questions, and, but I can't do it in an open public meeting, so. We have no public hearings tonight?
No.
Okay. Item number 4 under new business would be item 746, establish resident parking on Larchmont Street, both sides. What phase that, the reservoir bridge?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that's the one that we did a phone vote on that.
Yep. I make a motion.
Make a motion.
Establish
Public hearing.
resident parking on Larchmont, both sides.
Scheduled for public hearing?
Oh, this is going?
Yeah,
This is all new business.
just to remind the board, listen, we
This
did
is
this
all
on an
new.
emergency phone vote over the summer, due
Okay,
to
yeah.
safety
Oh.
issues with the reservoir. We need to schedule a public hearing.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we do that.
Public hearing, okay? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Motion passes.
Yeah, we're gonna make a motion. 746.
Who seconded?
Who's second? I saw him.
Very efficient. Sorry about that, I should have given you a little background on that. Good to go next one?
Yes.
Item 747, establish 1 hour parking, 2 spaces in front of 600 Chestnut Street.
This came in. Stacy Miliotis just bought the property on the corner of
On?
Rand Street.
The other side.
Yes, right across from the sandwich shop where Mahoney's Law used to be.
Yeah.
And she's having problems with neighbors parking there all day. She has a business. She is asking for 2 hour parking, 1 hour parking, 2 spaces in front of 600 Chestnut for her business. She has a skincare business.
And, by the way, because they do business, if we're going to take any action, the only action we can take tonight is just schedule a public hearing.
Yep.
Unless there's an emergency, we have to enact these right away. We can do that in 90 days, the way we were created by ordinance. Andy's. Other than that, we're just looking for votes for a public hearing.
Make a motion for a public hearing.
Motion made by Jay, do I have a second?
Second.
By Chris to schedule a public hearing, 1 hour parking, 2 spaces in front of 600 Chestnut Street. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Can I ask a procedural question about
Sure.
the public hearing? Is when does that take place? Is that the next?
It'll be the next meeting.
Scheduled meeting of this group?
In the interim, Mary will do the legwork for us, make sure it's advertised in City Hall, in the item, and that way the public has access to it. Next one. Number 748, establish no parking in front of 117 Commercial Street.
And this came, Roy Foster, who lives at the above address, which is 117 Commercial Street, is asking for no parking to be placed in front of his house or near his house. He's having an issue with Ernesto's Garage located at 129 Commercial Street. He understands they are doing business, but his issue is that they are parking large vehicles, buses, vans, SUVs, all over the street, both sides. He and his wife are having difficulty exiting their driveway because these large vehicles are blocking their sight lines. His concern is an accident waiting to happen. Is there anything that this board can do to assist him?
See you later.
This came from the DPW. The man contacted the DPW.
Okay.
Make a motion.
Motion by Chris, set down for public hearing, do I have a second by Andy? Any further discussion? discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Item number 749, establish resident parking on Chatham Street, both sides from the intersection of Trinity Avenue to the intersection of Parrott Street.
This request came from Councilor Trahan, and he's requesting resident parking on Chatham from Trinity to Parrott. Residents are complaining about the parking. Also, would you let me know the date so I can contact the residents? Thank you in advance for your assistance in this matter.
You didn't mention what the source of the parking is.
In that area, there's no resident parking there. There's just a lot of multifamily dwellings. And I think that the overlap from the side streets are in this area.
How do you determine whether a car is a resident car or not? Are there stickers or?
In the parking department.
You give them stickers?
They come down, identify, and show us their license, proof of residence. And then there are two things. There are stickers for their vehicles, and then there's 2 visitor passes per unit. So if you had a guest come in.
Or if they party or what have you?
Well, but I don't know, I would be interested in knowing what is causing the need for resident parking.
Yeah.
Has there been a neighborhood meeting?
First I've heard.
This is the first I've heard of it as well.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't say if he had a meeting or not. I can find out.
In the interim, is there any action the commission would like to take
On this matter.
on this matter?
I think we'd have to find out from the council, because one of my concerns is that Chatham Street's a big street, and are we gonna set some precedent by picking out a little section of it, making it resident parking? Next thing you're gonna know, the adjacent residences are gonna come down and say, I want resident parking as well. So if we could find out a little bit more information, I would prefer to look at this issue after that.
I think that's a motion.
Table.
Motion to table it, requesting additional information from the Water Council. I'll see a second on that one. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
And then a couple more that were added
Okay.
after the agendas went out. Number 750 is Beatty Ave. We, the residents of Beatty Ave, would like to request that our street be converted into resident parking only. Residents from other adjoining streets park on Beatty Ave, which we believe there might be some correlation to the tire slashing we have been experiencing during the past couple of weeks. If your department could help us with this matter, we would be very grateful. Mary Green, 18 Beatty Ave, and she did get a petition from the residents on Beatty.
There are a lot of residents of BDA.
It's not a very large street, no.
Thoughts?
This is new business?
Yeah, we're continuing the business. This is, well, that wasn't on the original.
We're still in the business, yeah.
We
We had a couple of added ones.
No, we didn't get any other correspondence or information on this specific.
On this one, no. No, just the letter from the lady and her.
Who's the council on that one?
It's a split ward, actually, a split street, 2 and 4. So Councilor Coach and Councilor Trahan.
And it's the entire street.
Both sides.
Any thoughts? Any thoughts?
Are you gonna run into the same concerns there as you would with Chatham Street?
It's a little bit different in terms of the size of the street. But again, the only statement she made was, because of tires being slashed. Resident parking is not gonna change that at all, unfortunately. So, I mean, to me, that sounds more like a police issue if people are going down there slashing tires. I haven't heard of that, but she says it's happening, so I have to assume that it is. I wouldn't tend to support it unless there was other information that we didn't have available to us. So, at the very least, I would want it tabled until we could find out what else.
We have a motion to table on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Can I just add a friendly amendment to that? We'll send the information over to the police department as a FYI. And at least we'll try to give her some relief that way. Motion made by Jay, seconded by Chris. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Motion passes. And the last one, number 751, from Councilor Seer, establish 4-hour parking at 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. both sides on Eastern Avenue from intersection of Columbia Ave, intersection of Superior Street.
I looked up.
Monty's?
Yeah, and the
We would
Monty's
cover
area.
Monty's. We'd cover that building block on the other side of the
This-
bridge as well.
Oh, okay, on Kings Beach
On
Tower?
Monty's side.
Oh,
And
in
then
the back.
obviously across the street.
Yep.
There's currently 2-hour parking signs there now, and I looked up the ordinance, and the ordinance only reads 2-hour on Eastern Ave from the intersection of Erie to the intersection of Upham, but the signs go further on the streets that are listed here from Columbia to Superior. And, Terry told me that Councilor Trahan, Councilor Seer, said that there were a lot of new businesses in the area, so they wanted the 4-hour parking. He wants it.
So it's currently 2-hour and then 1, 2, 4.
It's 2 hour, yes.
What's the specific reason for 4 hours?
He did say there were some new businesses.
Monty's is,
Quick
mail.
They have their own parking.
They sit in the bar for 4 hours. You shouldn't be driving that car anyway.
Yeah. He said, I would like to request 2-hour parking signs on Eastern Ave from Columbia Ave to Superior Street be replaced with 4-hour parking signs, both sides, and same stipulation, 6 to 6. Recently, new businesses have moved into the area. There is now a hairdresser, a chiropractor, and a dog grooming shop, and their services require more than 2 hours.
Have we have any history on ticketing that? At the current 2-hour restriction?
Yeah,
I don't think there has
But
been.
I think there is some ticketing, but I have a feeling it's people that work there.
Oh. I mean, if 4 hours presents an issue for me because I don't quite understand the need depending on those businesses. But the other thing is, from an enforcement standpoint, it's almost impossible to enforce.
I'd like to make a motion to deny.
Motion made to deny.
I'll second.
Seconded by Chris. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Anything else?
Oh, may I, I've got an email here from a resident at 17 Starrett Road. And they're looking for speed limit signs on Starrett, Thorpe, and Purton. Is that something?
We can have Mary check the ordinance. It's probably, I'm doubting there's any,
30 miles an hour.
yeah, particularly settled
State.
district.
Okay,
It's a blanket, you can put them up.
okay, without
Yeah.
approval of the commission.
Usually they'll call the ward council for something like that and they'll request it. But
Okay.
if you go out and see that there aren't any, they can be put
I wonder if they're gonna go berserk when they see a 30 limit, thinking it's too
That's the
high.
limit.
Right.
They asked for the sign.
They probably get the kids from high school cutting through there, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe that'll
That's what it probably
bring it
is.
down.
They were also concerned about traffic enforcement,
Yeah.
which I understand is not a responsibility of this group.
Right.
Okay, so I'll check with you, Mary, and if there is an ordinance.
There is, there's a
Oh, there is,
state
okay,
ordinance,
okay, so I can put the
57.
signs up
Yes.
30 miles.
Yeah, the only time to be a separate ordinance is if we reduced it or increased it for a specific
School
road.
zone.
Other than that, it's a blanket, 30 miles an hour in a thickly settled district, and pretty much all of Lynn is a thickly settled district.
Understood, okay, thank you.
Mary, I'm going to ask you to do me one favor, if you don't mind. Can you just draft a letter from me to the council president, with a copy of Dan's resignation, just asking for a new appointee, because I believe that he was one of the council appointees to the commission.
Yes.
And CC the mayor on that, if you don't mind, please.
Okay. I did send both of them.
Oh, they already got it?
That, yes,
Okay.
but I did send a cover letter, I just sent the resignation.
Yeah, he just for a formal request anyway. Nothing else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So move, somebody, thank you very much.
Yep, I'll make it. Second.
All right, we're done.
This is next.